Okay, so I'll give it a second for it to go live on all the platforms as usual. Okay, so today we are here for another Crewing the Ship stream. We are highlighting our new partner, World Virtual Tours, and we have Dr. Lillian Cespedes Gonzales here with us, who also works with Travelusion Tours. So, yay, Lily! Welcome back.
Hi, pleasure being back as always.
Okay, so real quick, what is SASA? SASA stands for Save Ancient Studies Alliance. We work to promote the study of the ancient world and engagement with our human deeper past, building a grassroots movement through outreach, collaboration, accessibility, public scholarship. We work towards our goal of inspiring a wide and inclusive community of scholars, learners, and students. So we do this in many ways. We have our reading groups coming up this summer. We have Crewing the Ship, which are Port Ancient partnerships. So go check out our Port Ancient page where there's a ton of cool ancient studies organizations, YouTube pages, websites, travel companies, etc. We have an open access database that's a searchable database of vetted ancient studies sources and things like that. So definitely check us out. You can find us by searching Save Ancient Studies Alliance. We post on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, basically every day. We stream on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So check out our streams and don't forget to subscribe and follow. Some protocol for the event: please be kind and respectful. Listen and ask thoughtful questions. You can send your questions in the chat box and we will read them and answer them on the screen or in the chat. Please be patient with technology. And again, these are streamed to Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook and will be saved there so you can reference them later. Last but not least, if you enjoy SASA events, please consider becoming a recurring donor. You can do this for as little as $3 a month. We are a grassroots, basically completely volunteer-led NGO. So everything that you see is made by volunteers and we offer everything for free. So really any donation helps. And thank you for joining us. So let me end my screen share and introduce Lily. Let's make Lily bigger. There we go. Okay, even better. So this is Lily. Lily has also worked with SASA many times before. She was a SASA volunteer for quite a while and has done lots of reading groups and live streams with us. One of the live streams she did with us before was our archaeotourism stream, which is in the realm of what we're talking about today, with one of her other projects she works with called World Virtual Tours. So with that, I will let Lily take it over. What is World Virtual Tours?
Yeah, so I'm sort of the representative of World Virtual Tours. So World Virtual Tours was not my idea, by the way. It was the lovely idea of my business partners, Emiliano and Luisa, who are from Italy. And during the pandemic, well, they essentially realized, like I think many people around the world realize, we cannot go anywhere. And there is this desire to still travel and, learn things and meet people. So with another partner, they built this community called World Virtual Tours with the idea in mind of creating an entire self-supported community of people that would be able to attend these sort of public lecture and virtual tours overall through Zoom. So through a platform that is easily available to anybody at the cost of essentially nothing. And from that, they started building this team of either licensed tour guides or PhD historians, archaeologists, humanities people overall, to deliver quality content on any historical or cultural project. So the real benefit and real, goal of the whole project was to have this community of experts, actually validated experts rather than self-reported experts, to enhance the content and material that was out there from an educational perspective, and to really, dig into the aspect of, well, virtual lecturing, virtual, webinars, and of course, virtual tours, which was a very big part of the project, particularly during the pandemic. And well, the project has evolved a lot because, this started in 2020, 2021, is now 2024 somehow. And we've grown a pretty large community. The community in World Virtual Tours currently counts with about 100,000 people that receive the newsletter and attend the events all year round. We are a community of 20 to 30 tour guides. I say 20 to 30 because we're in the process of inducing some new people to the platform. And it's all really done through a very small team dedicated entirely to provide this service for free, uh, through the support of donations and tips to the guides and the platform, because of course there are some costs involved into providing this knowledge, but really for the sake of reaching as many people as possible in a way that is accessible to anybody. And that's how the project came through, and more or less what we do in this day and age.
Mhm. Awesome. So I assume that you are probably one of the tour guides. So like, can you give us an example of like places you do for these tours? Like give the audience some context of like
Yeah.
the kinds of things you would
So
see.
we have a really big, wide-ranging, sort of community. So at present, just in the last sort of few days, I'll give you examples of things that I've run and some of my colleagues have run. So one of my colleagues, Jimmy, yesterday was getting us to Machu Picchu, which of course is a world-renowned important heritage site. So that is purely an archaeological tour showing the site, explaining how it works, etc., etc. Just literally 2 days ago, I was doing the same in the beautiful medieval town of Salisbury. We have a team of people sort of distributed all over the part of Europe, really. One of my colleagues, actually, Alba, is just doing a tour today, talking about the Colosseum and how the Colosseum was used as a gladiatorial arena and what kind of fights happening there. And then we also have a new section that we only started developing about 6 months ago, September, October last year. Yeah, 6 months ago. I can do maths, which is called the Virtual Free Academy. So the Free Academy of World Virtual Tours is slightly different than the day-to-day tours. These are sort of like almost like educational courses that happen, let's just say, in a specific timetable. So like on a recurrent Monday or Tuesday for 4 weeks. They all have the same theme, and more than tours are sort of interactive lectures or interactive tours where you go into a lot more detail. People get to ask questions. They get to also receive a certificate at the end of the program, just to prove that they've attended. They get asked some questions. It's a small test. I swear that we make the questions relatively easy. We don't want people to suffer. It's not an exam in that sense. So we are really starting to lean on a lot more, just on the not on the value just of exploring the world virtually, which is really important, but also the learning element of it. So what is really good is that, because as guides we don't step on each other's toes, we're always looking to cooperate. So if we know somebody's doing a set of lectures or a tour about something specific, and we can sort of add more to that subject, then we are creating a continuous learning program for our audience altogether. But honestly, the varieties and topics are so wide. Sometimes they are like one-off events because one of us happens to be somewhere where something really cool is happening. Like,
Yeah.
for example, every single February, of course, we have a guide that is based in Italy, and everybody wants to see the carnival in Venice.
Mm-hmm.
So we organize an event always on that specific date to do so. It can be really quite encompassing, and it's also very inclusive because we go through all periods of history, quite literally from prehistory until yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and all continents. Since we have people in the American continent, we have people in Europe, we have a couple of people down in Africa, and we are branching out into Asia. So one of the other things that we're also trying to really do and ensure that is always moving is that we are including a wide variety of topics, for the sake of not just inclusivity, but for intersectionality, and to ensure that we are not just sort of Eurocentric and
Right.
explore the world. If it's world virtual tours, it's
Yeah.
really supposed to, bring the whole world together in that picture. So we are
Mhm.
never static, and we're always trying to find ways to, improve our content. Each guide and each historian and archaeologist, of course, from their perspective. No, we cannot become experts on, different subjects overnight, but we do really work that way. And another thing that I think the majority of us take very seriously is our audience feedback. So if we know people are genuinely interested in specific subjects, we try to curate material to gear it that way. So
Mhm.
there is a proper, thoughtful process that tries to create an engaging program, but also something that is very diverse and that can, appeal to almost anybody. There is quite literally something for everybody in the whole piece.
Right, right. Oh my, okay. As you were talking, I was thinking of like 10 different questions to ask you. So, first of all, about the classes, are they also free and on Zoom? And like, are they people still at sites and stuff, or is it more like kind of how our reading groups are, like sitting
Yeah.
down and like lecture style?
So the academy, the free academy, because it's a lot more structured.
Hmm.
That is normally I'm a more traditional lecture.
Hmm.
Um, so that's still done through Zoom, and it's still free through the donation support. So everything that we do in the project is entirely done through donations that people give through, common method payments like Stripe or PayPal. But
Hmm.
yes, in that regard, as long as you've got the online ticket reservation, because we only have, availability for so many people,
Hmm.
and there's only so many people we can have in a Zoom meeting before it crashes. It's all accessible for everybody. So, there is no gatekeeping of any kind. And yeah, that's how it works. The vast majority of the classes, though, are properly more sit down and delivering in terms of like PowerPoints. But
Right.
there have been some cases in which the classes also require some work being done in advance, or some, not exactly homework, but some preparation,
Yeah.
or being inside doing something,
Hmm.
depending, of course, what the topic is. So again, there is quite a lot of flexibility so that it suits all of us as teachers from
Hmm.
that regards, but also so that the learners can explore
Right.
different, different aspects of history in contents that may suit them better or worse.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. As the one who leads the reading groups, I definitely they're very similar projects. And again, of course, SASA has the mission of the not having gatekeeping on things to do with learning in general, slash studying history. So we love it. um, okay, one of my next questions was you kind of started to list off where you have some guides and stuff. How do people become a guide with you? Like if someone's listening to this right now and they're like, "Oh, I'm a historian in Australia," you're probably like, "Great, contact us." Is there like
Yeah.
a specific
If you are, please do get in touch. We're definitely trying to reach new heights. So one of the things that was sort of very clear from the beginning was that the team had to be, like I said, people who legitimately have the knowledge. And that's not to say we are gatekeeping whoever content creators from accessing the platform, not at all. But what I think we realized during the pandemic is that anybody that had read a book about something thought themselves an expert on something, and that is great because we want knowledge to be accessible. But and this is coming from somebody who has been in academia for a long time, I can guarantee you to anybody out there that a 20-year-old doing a TikTok about something that they just learned in school is really cool and really important to engage with history, for example, but they can in no way, shape, or form give you the same kind of information that somebody like me has accumulated over a period of 7 years on a PhD.
Mhm.
So the idea was getting people who have got credentials to indeed validate and demonstrate and give weight to the programs that we're doing, and yet for free, with also the idea of guaranteeing to our audience that they were getting proper legitimate content, and it was not something that somebody from wherever had just read one Wikipedia and made everything else up. So that's kind of what the basic requirement was, that the guides had to be licensed guides or certified according to their countries, because guiding can be very different in many parts of the world. So not every single country has a specific accreditation. You may be able to be a guide, but you may not have a license because it doesn't work like that in the country. So depending on which part of the world, some credentials, and of course, when you are not necessarily a tour guide, but you are just an expert, like a historian, archaeologist, whatever, certify what background that person has, and use that kind of as I guess, a general way to recruit people. So to begin with, it sort of became a matter of, people knew of somebody and they recommended to the platform and whatnot. And that's kind of how the team grew. But then obviously at some point, we wanted to expand more, and we needed a bit more of a centralized sort of way of doing it. So after working together for such a long time, I guess some of us guides and lecturers have been more involved, or whatever, which is why I'm here today. And we kind of help each other find people. So, hey, I've worked with this person for however long. I think they may be a good fit, because you can also be an expert on a subject, but you're talking to the general public. You may be the best academic in the world, and it's not the same teaching to people from all over the world, all kinds of ages and all kinds of backgrounds, than on a lecture hall to 20-something-year-old students that are coming there for a very specific reason, to obtain a degree. So it's finding the right balance between having the right accreditations, the right engagement style, and the general right attitude and technical skill to some extent as well, because Zoom can be problematic. When you're doing a virtual tour, you need to have the right gear, the right equipment. You cannot just wave around the camera to all places. Like, there is an actual science behind it. So in some ways, it's not like general recruitment of, oh, if anybody knows about this, come on board. There are some guidelines and some stipulations that we try to apply to ensure that the quality is the same. Because, after doing this for quite some time and generating quite a large base audience, well, people have expectations, of course. And we need to deliver. And since we keep on putting very high standards for ourselves, we need to make sure that those people obviously are meeting us on the same level. So we're starting to create a more curated process to find people not just that are, good and relevant for the platform, but that also can open up different venues. Like, for example, we know that we are very well built in history, but like you were saying, if there was somebody in Australia, I'm not an expert in Australian studies. None of my European colleagues are. So for us to be able to have access to, different cultures, different countries would obviously be very interesting. And in terms of recruitment, just for example, and because we don't want to saturate certain subjects, we're always looking for that variety. So now we're doing more strategic things like, okay, where would our audience like to go next, based on feedback, based on data? And that's how we are sort of doing the recruitment and the approach right now. But we're always very happy to hear from people. So, in that sense, we're also friendly and willing to listen to anybody who can genuinely provide and deliver what our audience is expecting.
Amazing. You're having amazing answers, Lily. I just have to say.
I've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, it makes me think of like 5 different questions for each one, but I'm trying to think of what the audience would want to hear about too. So yeah, just kind of like went over what World History Encyclopedia, I'm so sorry, that's one of our other partners, World Virtual Tours, does, which is amazing. And it is very in line with the same missions that SASA has about opening up the study of history to people, bringing people to what they want to see, kind of this aspect of a little bit of debunking things that are out there and might not be true. So one of the things that we wanted to have on the table, but it seems even more difficult, is doing tours at archaeological sites and things. So I know some of the people that you guys work with are archaeologists, but does that mean that they are doing tours at actual archaeological sites? Or slash, do you know, because there's some barriers for that. There's things going on with
Yeah.
the countries that the sites are in that you need licenses for, even going on the site that you need to be approved for. Recording on the site is a whole nother
Yeah.
fun thing.
So it generally can be a challenge, and it often depends on the site. So because of that, that's also the reason why we started, adjusting some of our content. Sometimes doing 100% live tours is not necessarily practical, because it may be the greatest archaeological site in the world, but you may have zero signal. And and how are you gonna? It doesn't matter if you have the knowledge and the site right there. If you cannot stream it and share it with the world, it's difficult. So in some sites we can live stream and it's okay. In some sites we can do a recording that then we talk over, but that's not a live stream because it's self-contained. Our tours normally don't go to the cloud. They just happen on that meeting and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a way of doing not so much tours, but that's more, leaning onto the lecture side of things, where we would go to that site and we would document everything through like small pictures and small videos, and from that build a presentation that stimulates as if you are there in a
Right.
tour, and sort of approach it that way. But yes, there can be some barriers. So, for example, in Machu Picchu, the guides are perfectly allowed to go and do this because they have specific credentials and specific licenses. So that's okay. But recently, we've been having lots of problems with the signal. So it's been an issue. And now we're trying to work with the technology to see how we can do that okay and make it more accessible. In some other places, of course, it's completely forbidden to record any kind of content. So we have to be respectful and we need to be careful to not overstep those barriers. So a lot of the time, it also requires an insane amount of research and, sort of quality assurance to make sure that what we're doing is 100% okay. So yeah, there are balances in that sense. It's not so simple as, look at this beautiful site, I'm just gonna go on and
Right.
do this. No, you need to follow specific avenues, and some places make it easier, some others don't. And that's also the reason why the more variety that we have, the better, because we don't want to be relying, we don't want to be a one trick pony of, okay, we can do tours in this one place, so then we'll just keep on doing that
Mm-hmm.
forever and ever and ever, because eventually people would have seen it and they would want more.
Right.
So there comes our work as researchers, and that's also the reason why it's important that we are researchers, archaeologists, historians, philosophers, literature majors, whatever, to understand where we can go, what we can do, and how to push, the barriers moving forward, because otherwise, well, we would be stuck, and that wouldn't be good for anybody.
Right. Yeah.
Quite literally.
Okay, this is another thing that was on the table of SASA's ideas of what we would do with archaeotourism. Do you guys do anything at museums or with museums?
Right. So that has that depends. For example, my colleague Anna, who is amazing, by the way, Anna Levina, she used to be a tour guide in St. Petersburg. Now she's currently in Tbilisi in Georgia. And because Anna had a very good working relationship in St. Petersburg, she was allowed to do certain tours inside the Hermitage, which is, a very impressive thing to be
Yeah.
able to do. But that's not normally something, that happens. So museums can be problematic because of that. A lot of museums, of course, have very high fees for recording,
Mhm.
or they require very specific permissions, or they may only allow you to have access to one room,
Mhm.
which, depending on which room it is, it could fulfill our time or not. The
Mhm.
majority of our tours last about 45 minutes. We like to do 45 minutes to then allow 10 to 15 minutes of questions, because during the main chunk of the tour, the chat tends to be closed just so we can flow a bit normally, because with Zoom and whatnot, chats can also get a bit out of hand. So it's easier to navigate them that way. So that is, for example, an area where we're trying to find new ways of approaching it. How can we actually, open up the door to these places, or at least to museum collections, and how to do that? And that's how, for example, we are now starting to think about these academies, because many museums, thankfully, have some very good digital images of their artifacts online, so we can work with them, we can utilize them in that regards. But again, it very much depends on what we can legitimately access with our own credentials and not. So to some extent, a lot of these museums, though, don't like doing this kind of partnerships, because they want to put on their own events and charge a ticket and all of those things. So it is also, difficult finding the right balance in there, but it's definitely something that we can do in some respects. But as always, with care and consideration, because, well, there are obviously always competing reasons and competing factors, and we need to all be responsible and balanced on that regards.
Yeah, we basically ran into the same kind of stuff too. Museums, of course, have their own agendas. Although I will say, as most people probably know, over the pandemic, a ton of museums digitalized their archives or slash collections and stuff. So much more is accessible online than it used to be. And usually it's open sharing, like images and stuff like that. So that's great. We use stuff like that all the time at SASA, like our posts on social media and groups and things too. Okay, at that, it has already been like over 25 minutes. But if there's any questions from the chat, sorry, please send them now. I see there is something. This is Irina, who's one of our other people who leads master classes and stuff. She also does Norse history things. So you guys should do something together, actually.
I know Irina. Irina maybe doesn't know me, but I know her. I have my eye on her.
Yeah.
I'm not stalking you, I promise. It's just academic interest.
But yes, hi Irina, thank you for coming. If anyone else has any other last thoughts or questions, please send them in the chat. Of course, you can send or scan the QR code. This will take you to World Virtual Tours website. So please go check them out, search for tours there, get in touch with them if you think you want to be a tour guide or have ideas for places that you would like to see from them. We also have SASA's QR code over in the corner right here, which on Wednesday we start our birthday bash. That was the ticker going along the bottom. So please check out, actually Irina is doing a masterclass during the birthday bash. So please check out our next few live streams we have coming up on Wednesday. It's Hippo Day special for Archeo Gaming. So we will be live on some of our channels for that. Lily, is there anything else you want to say about World Virtual Tours? I will say look out for more stuff that we're going to be doing together. We're going to be sharing more of their stuff on our page and doing some fun streams together coming up in the near future. So follow them and follow us.
I mean, one of the things I was going to say was that, we're very happy to be starting this new partnership with SASA, because we have so many things in common. And I generally think it's great to see more projects like this in the humanities, collaborating and putting things together. But honestly, really what I want to say is that it is a lot of effort. A lot of people don't often realize this, but it's really just a very small team. Emiliano and Luisa really work around the clock to get everything going. They have such patience with us, but it's great to know that there is a group of people, even if small, behind people like us as tour guides and as academics, that are willing to give us this support, because these guys have their own lives, they have their own jobs. This is just an idea they came up with as to how can we improve the state of things. And I think it's just really wonderful that we have brilliant minds and wonderful people wanting to open these doors for everybody, and who can also appreciate the hard work that goes into somebody like me to do all this research and put it out there, and who want to give us a platform to actually share it with everybody. And that's something that honestly they take so seriously, their ability to reach new people, to be more inclusive, but also while keeping us safe, which is very important because, as we know, in the internet, sometimes there are, well, some people who are not always entirely happy. So one thing that we're really proud of is that we always stand up for our community. They always stand up for their guides. And it's it is great to see something that is not an academic institution
Mhm.
providing that kind of service at that level. It's
Yeah.
something that we're really proud of, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so proud of being part of this project, because there should be more of it, essentially.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that I want to thank all of our colleagues in there. I know I mentioned Jimmy and Anna because I have a lot of respect for them and I've worked with them closely, but there is 1,000 others out there. So, go check the World Virtual Tours website. There is literally a tour or a lecture for anyone out there. And well, hopefully we'll see you in some more events real soon.
Yes, I definitely agree. This all sounds great to me. Please go check them out. Please support their mission and cause. Again, you can do it for as much as you want to pay, kind of like buy me a cup of coffee type thing.
Yep.
And really anything helps. I will say from SASA's end too, really anything helps when you are a nonprofit. Like you said, a small team of people doing a ton of work to try to open access to things for people around the world. It's a great thing to do. um,
Yes, and you know, I know it kind of feels like we have to say this, but we genuinely mean it. We do it for free because we care and we want to share our knowledge. At the end of the day, platforms have costs that we need to pay for. It's nice to be able to also make a living from doing the things that we truly enjoy and that we truly believe in. So even though to you it may not seem like a lot, those $3 or however many that you can spare, they do make a difference because, well, when a whole village contributes, actually, the sky is the limit.
Yes, definitely agree. It is very true, everyone. So scan the QR codes, and thank you so much, Lily, for coming and talking with us. I am sure we will see you soon on a tour and a live stream. Actually, check out Lily's live stream during the birthday bash. That one is a private donor event. So if you're a donor, you already have the RSVP. If you donate $25, you get a behind the scenes about archaeotourism with Lily, where she will go into even more depth about similar things of what we were talking about today. So thank you all so much for joining us. We hope to see you at the next streams we have coming up this week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.